Could you survive Heracles' deadly labors? Heracles, the mighty hero of Greek mythology, faced 12 deadly labors that tested his strength, courage, and wit. But could a modern person survive these labors? Today, we'll break down each one and find out. These weren't just chores, they were designed to be nearly impossible. So, get ready to put on your hypothetical togas and grab your metaphorical olive branches, because we're about to dive into a world of mythical beasts and superhuman feats. We'll look at each labor and analyze how you, an ordinary person, might fare against these near-impossible tasks. Let's be honest, you've probably got a better chance of surviving a black hole. The Nemean lion claws, teeth, and really bad skin. First up, we've got the Nemean lion. Imagine a lion, but way scarier than the ones on those nature documentaries. This beast was terrorizing the region of Nemea, and here's the kicker. Its hide was impenetrable. Heracles ended up wrestling the lion into submission and strangling it. Now, I've seen enough Discovery Channel to know that you don't just walk up to a lion, let alone wrestle one. And strangling it? Forget about it. You'd be cat food before you could say Hakuna Matata. Could you take down the Nemean lion? Highly unlikely. Round 1 goes to the mythical beast. The Lernaean Hydra. More heads, more problems. Next up, we're talking about a creature that makes a shark look like a goldfish. The Lernaean Hydra was a multi-headed serpent with a nasty attitude and an even nastier party trick. You chop off one head, 2 more grow back. Heracles, with the help of his nephew Iolaus, cauterized each stump after decapitation, preventing regrowth. Clever, right? But let's be real. Most of us would be running for the hills the moment we saw a creature with that many teeth. The Hydra represents a problem that just keeps getting worse the more you fight it. It's a testament to the ingenuity and sheer willpower of Heracles that he was able to overcome it. As for us mere mortals, we'd be lucky to escape with all our limbs intact. Round 2 goes to the mythical beast as well. The Ceryneian Hind don't hurt Bambi. After 2 labors involving brute force and sheer terror, you'd think Heracles would get a bit of a break, right? Wrong. The 3rd labor tasks him with capturing the Ceryneian Hind, a golden-horned deer sacred to the goddess Artemis. This deer was incredibly swift, and harming it was strictly forbidden. Heracles spent an entire year tracking the creature, showcasing his endurance and hunting skills. He eventually captured it, but not without immense effort. Could you catch it without harming it? That's a tough one. Tranquilizers are tricky. Nets could cause injury. It's a logistical nightmare. This labor highlights a different kind of challenge: patience, strategy, and respect for the natural world. It's not about brute force, but about outsmarting a creature on its own terms. Chapter 4. The Erymanthian Boar, When Pigs Fly, and Rampage. The Erymanthian Boar was no ordinary pig, massive, with tusks the size of small cars and a temper to match. Heracles trapped it in deep snow and hauled it back to King Eurystheus. Nature is full of surprises, and sometimes they want to turn you into bacon bits. Chapter 5. The Augean Stables, One man's trash is another man's labor. After 4 labors involving terrifying creatures, Heracles gets hit with chores. But not just any chores, we're talking about the Augean Stables, home to thousands of cattle and years of accumulated dung. It was so bad the stench was said to reach the heavens. Heracles decided the only way to clean it was to divert 2 rivers to wash away the filth. This is actually one labor I think a modern person could handle, with a bit of help of course. We've got excavators, pressure washers, maybe even some fancy biodegrading bacteria. It wouldn't be glamorous, but hey, a job's a job, right? The Augean Stables remind us that even the most daunting tasks can be overcome with ingenuity and a little elbow grease. Chapter 6. The Stymphalian Birds, Feathered Fiends of Doom. These weren't your average pigeons, folks. These birds were man-eating, with beaks of bronze and feathers so sharp they could be shot like arrows. Heracles scared the birds from their hiding place with a loud noise. Thanks, Athena. And then picked them off with his trusty bow and arrow. Could you survive an attack by the Stymphalian Birds? Well, if you've got a really loud sound system and a knack for archery, you might stand a chance. But honestly, your best bet is to stay indoors and hope they don't develop a taste for pizza delivery guys. The Stymphalian Birds are a reminder that even the sky isn't safe from mythical terrors. Chapter 7. The Cretan Bull, Raging Bull, Mythological Edition. This bull was sent by Poseidon to punish King Minos, and it was wreaking havoc on the island of Crete. Heracles wrestled the bull to the ground and then shipped it off to King Eurystheus. Could you, a regular person, survive an encounter with the Cretan bull? Unless you're secretly a matador with a death wish, I'm going to have to say no. This bull was the stuff of nightmares, and your best bet would be to find the nearest tree and climb, climb, climb. The Cretan bull is a reminder that sometimes even the gods have bad days, and when they take it out on the animal kingdom, it's best to just stay out of the way. Chapter 8. The Mares of Diomedes. To eat or not to eat, that is the question. The mares of Diomedes? Not so much. These horses were the pets of a Thracian king, and they ate people. Heracles fed King Diomedes to his own horses to calm them down. Could you survive an encounter with the mares of Diomedes? You might distract them with a steak, but I wouldn't count on it. One thing's for sure, I'd rather not be the one to find out. Chapter 9. The Belt of Hippolyta. This time it's personal, or is it? Heracles is tasked with retrieving the Belt of Hippolyta, queen of the Amazons. The Amazons were a fierce tribe of warrior women, and their queen's belt was a symbol of her power. Some myths say Heracles took the belt by force, others suggest Hippolyta gave it willingly. Could you convince Hippolyta to hand over the belt peacefully, or would you rely on brute force against the skilled Amazons? This labor highlights the importance of diplomacy and strategy. Chapter 10. The Cattle of Geryon. 3 heads are better than 1? This time Heracles has to steal the cattle of the monster Geryon. Geryon was a giant with not 1, not 2, but 3 bodies. Oh, and he also had a 2-headed dog and a winged monster for backup. Heracles naturally killed Geryon and his entourage and stole the cattle. Could you survive an encounter with Geryon? Well, if you've got a thing for fighting triple the amount of body parts, then be my guest. But for the rest of us, I'd recommend investing in a good pair of running shoes and a one-way ticket to anywhere but there. The Cattle of Geryon is a reminder that sometimes the universe just likes to throw curveballs. Chapter 11. The Apples of the Hesperides Fruit Salad of Doom. This time he's tasked with retrieving the golden apples of the Hesperides. These apples were a gift from Gaia to Hera, and they were guarded by a never-sleeping dragon named Ladon and the Hesperides, nymphs whose singing could lull anyone to sleep. Heracles tricked Atlas into fetching the apples for him while he took Atlas's place holding up the sky. Could you, a modern person, pull off such a feat? Well, unless you've been hitting the gym and can hold up a celestial object, probably not. The apples of the Hesperides highlight the importance of wit and cunning. Sometimes the best way to overcome a challenge isn't through brute force, but through thinking outside the box, or in this case, the orchard. Chapter 12. Cerberus, a dog walk through the Underworld. The final labor capturing Cerberus, the 3-headed guard dog of the Underworld. Heracles wrestled Cerberus into submission and dragged him back to the land of the living. Could you survive a trip to the Underworld, let alone an encounter with Cerberus? Unless you've got a Hades frequent flyer card and doggy treats, no. As for us, we'll stick to walks in the park, thank you. Looking at these labors, it's clear that Heracles' strength, courage, and divine assistance were key to his success. Most of us without his superhuman attributes would likely perish during the first few labors. So, could you survive Heracles' deadly labors? The answer is a resounding, probably not. But Heracles wasn't just any man, he was the greatest hero of Greek mythology. He was the demigod who wrestled lions with impenetrable hides, outsmarted multi-headed hydras, and even cleaned up after some very messy cattle. And now, we can appreciate just how impossible his tasks were. So next time you're facing a challenge, remember Heracles, and know that even if you can't wrestle a 3-headed dog, you can at least try to be a little bit more heroic in your own life. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel and let us know in the comments below. Which of Heracles' labors do you think you could survive? From wrestling lions to cleaning up after some very messy cattle, there's a lot to choose from. And who knows, maybe your answer will inspire our next video. Thanks for watching, and remember, even if you can't wrestle a 3-headed dog, you can always be a hero in your own life.